Okay, so a little bit of a change from the last few videos of the radio, and yes, this is an ordinary LED light. What's special about it? I found it in a skip. That's what's special about it. So I was going to take it apart and figure out why it was thrown in a skip, and if it's repairable. I know absolutely nothing about this particular lamp other than it was a UK lamp found in a skip. What made me sort of instantly sort of recognise what it was the fact that this great big heatsink on the back, and I thought, oh, that's a very nice looking heatsink. I wonder what it's attached to, and turned it over, and there we are. We've got an LED chip. Now it looks like there's 3 rows of chips that are a darker colour under there than the others. It looks like there's 1, 2, 3. There should be 5 rows, and 3 of them seem to be a bit darker. So maybe that it's actually just the chip that's failed. So I think the first thing to do is to take it apart and actually see what's going on the inside, and find out what's wrong with it. Now it looks like there's some moss and some algae grown on it, so it's obviously an outside light. It's been outside for a while, but the outer housing here is a plastic, so that hasn't actually deteriorated, and the heatsink seems to be a reasonable sort of quality item, painted so that it doesn't corrode in any way. So let's see if we can now pop it apart. I suppose really I should use the spudger, but then this is industrial, so you'd expect it to be taken apart with electrician screwdrivers. And here we go. One more side. There we go. So that's the rim taken off, and now we have the glass is actually seems to be stuck in. So okay. Try not to shatter the glass. It's there we go. It's certainly got a reasonable bond. There we go. I have to undo these other retaining clips as well. There we go. Out it comes. And what do we have? Well, I have a nice ring and a non-potted driver. So let's have a look. We can't see any smelly bits on there. I can't see anything that's obviously failed. So I think the thing to do here is to get the electrical screwdriver, the baby one, and fix a new mains cable in, noting the colours there. So we've got live and neutral. It is actually marked. There is a fuse there. The centre one is obviously not used, so out you come. Need to loosen that off a lot more. go. And the earth wire is quite unusually mounted to the circuit board, but then I suppose that goes straight to the heatsink on the back, taking into account the case's plastic nature. So I'm going to just snip that, and I'm going to pull those out the way because they're not needed, and then I'm going to find my lead with a plug on, which should be somewhere close by. Is it that one? No, there's one that will probably do the job. It's not the one I was looking for, but there we go. That teach me to not be prepared for the videos. So I'm just going to pause at this point while I strip off this wire. Will I need to pause? Will I just need to strip off the wire? Bearing in mind this is old colour wiring, because this has come from a piece of vintage kit that was dismantled. So it shows here the old UK colours of red, black and green, rather than brown, blue and green and yellow. So let's just pop that and pop that. Just give it a twist. And again there. Now you notice this isn't particularly heavy duty cable, but then this is, if this is to be believed, a 30-watt light, so it's not going to be drawing kilowatts of electricity. So let's just plug that in there. Let's tighten that one down. No. Right, okay, it looks like this retainer might be a little bit squiffy, which is why it didn't want to release the cable the first time. Let's see if we can get it this time. That's better. Put the same on there. No, missed that one. You think after all these years I could actually screw a piece of wire into a terminal block, but obviously not. I'm getting too old for this, aren't I? It's a youngster's game. Here we go. Right, okay, and we'll ignore the earth for now. And what I'll do is I'm going to plug it into my safety trip and wait for the bang. And what do we have? Nothing happens. Right, so the first thing to check is where the problem lies. So let's start off with some AC on the meter. And the first thing I'm going to check is that there's 240 volts going in. Okay, so on the output we should be getting DC, and we're getting 37 volts, or minus 37 volts, 38.1. So it looks like the only problem with this is the actual LED itself is defunct. So I'm going to look in my stock of LEDs, see if I've got one. Let's just take the mains power out and see if I can replace it. Back in a minute. I've taken the tinfoil shroud off and found the LED, obviously the relevant faulty one. So all I've got to do at the moment is desolder this, and away we come. Come on. It looks like they've used lead-free solder because it's not melting as easily as it should. There's one wire. There's another wire. Alright. So then all we've got to do is I'm going to take off the splash ball of solder that I just left, and then just unscrew the LED. And yeah, that's fitted straight onto the heatsink. This is the wrong screwdriver, but brute force and ignorance, it's always worked in the past. Let's see if this other one's a better one. Yes. And we just lift the chip out. How this chip going to come out nicely? Yeah, there we go. And it's got its shmoo on the back. Okay, that's obviously a fairly high quality device, going by the design and the thickness. And what I'm going to replace it with is a cheap and cheerful 50 watt Banggood special. Now if I remember the polarity, that was the way round it went, and the holes should line up. So yes, they do. So what I need to do now is a bit of heat shmoo. So I suppose the thing to do now is to actually turn it that way so that if it blows up, it doesn't blow up in my face or the camera, and B, if the light comes on, which it doesn't, yes it does, it doesn't wipe us all out. So there we go, one replaced LED, and that is bright. That is bright. The only thing left to do now is to actually, apart from feed the cabling correctly, is to just check the voltage is actually within what the LED is saying, and that it's not drawing too much current out of the driver. And there is an adjustment which allows you to limit that on this particular driver board, I've noticed. So if I pull out the power again, and yeah, there's the adjustment. What I need to do is check that voltage, and it's probably easier if I do it without it shining inside the camera. So again, back in a second. Right, okay, now we're back and I'm nearly blind. This heatsink is not warm at all, and everything looks white. I've got to admit, everything looks white. Maybe I should have got some sunglasses to help me with this. I have turned it down to 36 volts, so sorry, to 32 volts. It was on the 36 and a bit, if I remember rightly. It's all good, it just has to go back together now. Thanks very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.